if on your last album you kind of went in the studio and just did whatever the producer asked you to do.
Right. Yeah, no, that's exactly. This is good.
It's just, you know, every artist just has one album that's just not good, and that's it. Honestly, I listen to that and I'm just like, what was he thinking?
In future, if someone asks you to give them a critique of their work, don't rip out them gizzards and hold it in front of their face.
Welcome to the Film Fix. I'm Jeff Marker here with Jonathan Hickman, and this week we're going to tell you about Get Him to the Greek, starring Russell Brand and Jonah Hill.
Funny people.
What else do we need to know, right?
Well, I'll tell you all about it. Get Him to the Greek is the new comedy from the guy who brought us Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Nicholas Stoller. That was the 2008 film that also starred Russell Brand, the comedian, who is now becoming quite popular here in the United States. We also have Jonah Hill in this film, who worked with Nicholas Stoller and Russell Brand in Forgetting Sarah Marshall. In Get Him to the Greek, Jonah Hill plays a record executive who comes up with a brilliant idea to bring an aging rocker, 1999 being the time in the past, and bring him back to a famous venue in L.A. and where he's going to do a big concert. It just so happens that Russell Brand, who plays this rocker and is doing all kinds of drugs and drinking and everything, so getting him from the UK to L.A. presents quite a challenge. Along the way, they do a lot of drugs, they drink a lot of alcohol, and they have a whole lot of fun. And I think maybe you will too.
So did you like Get Him to the Greek?
Oh, sure. I mean, this movie was a real leg slapper. I mean, I was dying most of the time. You know, I mean, certainly the movie wears out its welcome after a while. But, you know, for the most part, I think the movie really works. I think it's funny as all get out.
Yeah, and I know you're going to be kind of hard on it at a certain point, but I'm going to keep reminding you that you laughed a lot. I was there. I heard it.
I mean, Jonah Hill is I don't know. He's the new guy who can make us laugh just by looking into the camera.
Yeah, and he's not nearly as brash in this one. He's kind of like the gooey heart, which is a little bit different.
He's the straight man.
Yeah,
and that's what's really interesting about it, you know. Yeah. And in this case, I think, you know, Jonah Hill really works when he's given a heart in his character.
And that was what was great about Superbad. All of the profanity and all the vulgarity covers up a lot of insecurities, and you sort of have him doing a similar thing here.
In this movie, Jonah Hill feels like he's innocent, but he's a grown-up innocent.
He's got a little bit of naivete. He works in the record industry, but he's still a diehard fan, and he genuinely wants to bring this rocker, Aldous Snow, back. You know, yeah, they want to put on a big show and it's good for the company, but ultimately he's a fan of the guy and he wants him to do well. And I think Brand is completely believable as a rock star.
Totally.
I would believe him off screen as a rock star. He just sort of cultivated that image, and it seems to come naturally.
Well, Russell Brand is a real enigma as a comedian. I believe that I heard him quoted once by saying, "Well, how do you figure out what's funny?" And he says, "Well, I think about the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me, and then I say, oh God, I could never tell anybody that, and then I know that must be funny."
And Brand really is a fearless actor on and off screen again. You know, I've seen him in interviews where he just doesn't. He's willing to take chances with his persona,
and it's got him into trouble in the past.
It has, but I'm okay with that. Really, I think we need more people who actually sort of push the envelope in the ways that he does.
Well, and he's also apologetic about it too. When he, it seems that when he runs afoul, you know, he doesn't hide behind just being a comedian. I think he's someone who may have something to say, and that's going to evolve as his career does.
Well, there's nothing more boring than safe comedy.
That's true.
Sorry.
Well, they do a lot with Sean Combs in this movie, who actually comes out really well. I think he's very funny in the movie.
He doesn't necessarily have to show a lot of acting chops, but they put him in a role that's right for him. He's a record producer, for crying out loud.
Imagine that.
But actually, he shows up in a lot of scenes, and he gets to do some slapstick humor. He really gets to sort of drive the narrative for a few scenes, which is kind of new for him.
I mean, he's a very funny guy, and I think I'd like to see more of him in other movies.
Yeah, the supporting cast is pretty good otherwise too.
That's right.
Meany plays Aldous' father.
That's a great scene.
I mean, really.
And the movie has a lot of fun with taking rock star things and putting them on, sort of parodying them.
Oh, yeah.
And the movie doesn't, I think the movie doesn't turn a corner on an emotional level.
Yeah.
I think it had an opportunity to do something with it. You know, this Snow guy is doing every drug imaginable.
They play with rock personas a lot, and it's just generally a good time. For all its failings narratively, I think this is a lot of fun. Did you get your fix?
I got my fix, but, you know, I think this is a movie that could have benefited from no music. I know that's bad. They have Russell Crowe.
But he's a rock star. How can you not?
He does a couple of numbers, and, you know, they're more of a joke than they are meant to be serious.
But
obviously.
They're a good show.
I guess so.
We're going to disagree on this one. I think the music works because it's just so absurd. Well, it's not exactly Spinal Tap, but I think there are a lot of really pompous rock stars who should see themselves in this movie.
So, yeah, I'd say that I got my fix from it. It's a very funny movie, but, again, I wish that it did more with the narrative and got me on more of an emotional level, but that's overanalyzing it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I got my fix, but this really is going to be sort of one of those guilty pleasure movies. We're not going to think very much about this, but, you know, I got to tell you, I'm looking forward to see it again because the crowd was laughing so much, I missed a lot of the dialogue.
Well, that's the Film Fix for this week, and you can always join us on the web by going to dailyfilmfix.com, where you can feed your movie addiction.